Dragon and Tiger qigong has many levels. You're just doing the initial entry point to it. And one of the things that's very important about it is this. You have an etheric field outside your body. This field that's out here is being created by what is inside your body. You have a blood vessel that's got a problem, it will show up in your etheric field. It will show up as something being messed up in your etheric field. But likewise, if you fix something in your etheric field, it will begin to heal what's inside of you, and it's important to realize what's inside of you is generating that etheric field. So they're separate, but from the point of view of material reductionism, what's the proof? And I would simply say, I don't know if we have the instrumentation to test it yet. This is one extreme limitation of science. It can only say what is true or false if it has the instrumentation to measure it. We don't. And that's a simple fact. And I'm not going to go into all this stuff about historically. A lot of what today is considered to be these great scientific breakthroughs. Thousands of years ago, the Taoists were saying this is how it is. They didn't have any instruments. They used their own awareness to register what was going on inside of them. And when they found it was sufficiently consistent, they said, well, this is kind of what's going on. But that's different from a material basis. Now, what we did this morning, which is not for you yet, but I want to just explain something to you because you are going to get things that are related to this. There are two types of senses. One type of sense is the one everybody knows. It is the normal 5 external senses, sight, touch, smell, hearing, whatever. Okay? That's fine. But you also have, and it is postulated in both India and in China, you have what are called internal senses. So, for example, when people can see qi, if they can, or feel it, or hear it, they cannot do this through their external senses. Doesn't exist. You can do it through your internal senses. And one of the primary things that over time qigong is developing is your internal senses. So when I say that you're just going to trace a line, I want you to be able to accurately, all you have to do is accurately, because you have these lines in your body. If your hand from your etheric field traces them accurately, it activates the qi that runs in those lines. Now, this is true whether you feel it or not, you recognize it or not. Okay? You may not be able to feel your blood. It's moving. You may not be able to feel, and there are people, qigong, yoga, all sorts of things, they can control blood flow any place in their body at will. They can make it slow down, go faster, stop, blah, 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 blah. Well, they do this through their internal senses. They don't do it through their external senses because there is nothing, the receptors are not big enough to give that sort of feedback loop. But qigong, good yoga people can demonstrate this at will anytime they are in the mood to do it. Okay? So external senses and internal senses are different. But the way Dragon and Tiger begins with this, you can look at Dragon and Tiger from 2 different perspectives. The first one is that it is just a very, very sophisticated form of physical movement, that just that sophisticated form of physical movement will do an immense amount for people's health, or can do an immense amount for increasing their ability to do anything that's involved with high performance physicality. You can also look at when the body moves smoothly, the mind gets better. Hard to exactly quantify how much, but it gets better. And better is definitely a nicer thing to have with your mind than worse. If there was a stupid pill that could make you to where you could barely add, if you worked on it for months on end, believe me, you wouldn't want the pill. Okay? That wouldn't be a good thing to do. If there was one that could make your mind, I don't know, like these movies and whatnot, working like the supercomputer from someplace else, you'd say, sure, I'll go for that. So understand that your external senses are what you're going to be using eventually, but understand that everything you're doing in Dragon and Tiger is also being geared toward opening up your internal senses. And is the whole of Taoist Neigong is about that. All of it. Not just to open up the senses, but then to use them for what they're good for. Okay, so you have two things. If you can't activate it, you can't use it. And then you have to learn what can you use it, what's it good for.